Hello, everyone. Welcome back to AFOL Spotlight Live. I have Grant Davis here. He is joining us tonight. You may know him from one of his incredible mocks online. You may know him as one of the fan designers of the recent Lego pop-up book. We'll talk to you tonight, Grant. Thank you so much for joining us on AFOL
Yeah, thank you
Spotlight
so much for
Live.
having me, Brent. This is going to be a good time.
Climb aboard this proverbial Winnebago. We're talking about the awesome fans of Lego. So build your mock and shift it into drive. It's time for AFOL Spotlight Live.
Hello, everyone. We are back. Grant, dude, thank you so much for joining me.
Yep, absolutely.
We've got you here. So much has happened. You've been through. You've got an incredible.
In the places that I've traveled, so
Yeah, it's awesome. So we've got. Let me just say hi to some folks in the chat. We've got Erica Murray, TechBot22. TechBot22. This sounds like a bot.
maybe.
Nitro Met Tutorials. We've got Edorier Lego Studios. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're gonna do some Q&A later. We're gonna hit the typical AFOL Spotlight Live segments tonight. Grant, tell us, where did it all begin for you?
Well, so I mean, the typical story. I've been building Legos my entire life, right? So that's nothing new to a lot of people. The involvement with the online Lego fan community came probably when I was around, I don't know, 13 years old. A friend of mine sent me a link to a Lego Kusu project. I believe it was either the Marble Maze or one of the very first ones that ever got 10,000 votes, one of the Western sets, and said, hey, this thing could be a Lego set. Some dude that doesn't work for Lego could vote on it. And so I went and made an account on that website, and spent a long time there. Spent a whole summer looking at all these cool, crazy projects that people were coming up with, and then eventually decided to work on my own project. So I was 13 at the time. At that time, I think I needed to have my parents make an account for me just to submit it to the website, and it was pretty bad. I maybe hit 50 votes out of the 10,000 I needed or something like that. But shortly after that, I realized the flaws in my ways and discovered mock pages.
Okay.
So fancy little website with much higher quality standards than the typical, 2013 or so Lego Ideas project. And from there, I found a bunch of different contests. And so my involvement with the community started more online, than you would find with the typical AFOL at a convention. I really got involved, competing in competitions online, and really enjoyed that. After a while on mock pages, I entered some competitions, lost those. I discovered the existence of Lego conventions, and so I think it was BritCon 2013 was the first convention I went to, and I was able to drag in my really good friend Eli into the rough with me, and that was a really great time as well. So Eli Wilsey, we're still building together today, and so I bring him into my story because he's such a big part of it.
Right.
We've been doing collabs and trying to get better ourselves and helping each other out, practically sharing our collections at times for, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 years now. And so BritCon 2013 was my first ever Lego convention, and we built a few foot wide castle, and that was a really great learning experience to finally start working with someone else. And then it was my first convention too, and so there was all the craziness that was involved with that. I was able to meet Jamie, one of the judges on Lego Masters there. He was in town displaying the Lego Parisian restaurant, I think.
So what year is this?
This is 2013.
2013. Okay.
7 years ago, when he flew in, back when Lego set designers were unveiling sets at Lego conventions. They were trying to kind of involve the fan community more.
Right.
I don't know if they typically do it as much now. There's been a lot of changes with Lego's involvement in the fan community. But that was one thing that happened back then, and I was just reminded of that by Eli a couple days ago.
Yeah.
The fact that I like did a little interview with Jamie back in 2013 before he was, the famous Lego judge, Lego Masters and stuff.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, so that was a throwback. That was a good old time. But from there, things spiraled out of control naturally. Started going to more conventions more regularly. Eventually found the website Flickr, where I mostly call my home today. So I am on Instagram, follow me there. I am on YouTube, follow me there. But my main home is Flickr, and that's what I care about most, definitely online.
Awesome. We will check it out.
Absolutely. So yeah, I kept on building and getting better, and I was able to find involvement with some chat groups and some like online Lego user groups. Still focusing more on the online fan community. I was able to make a lot of really good friends through that, such as like Aaron Van Cleve and Micah Bideman and Simon. I also met online. I've now met them all in person, which has been fun. But it all started for me online on Flickr, starting to get to know people that way.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. I knew you mentioned Simon. I knew Simon online before I ever got to meet him in person, and I met him for the very first time in person at Brick World Chicago last year.
Okay,
and it always interests me, this whole dynamic between the online and the the in-person parts of this community. And I'm trying to change just a little bit about how your view is here, and you're fine. I just this is what window? No. Okay, it's fine. I'm just used to something a little bit different here, but that's fine. Okay. Anyway, so the online fan community, and then sort of the in-person events and stuff, and there's it's like a Venn diagram, right? So where it meets in the middle, and you got all these people that are involved in both. You got some people who are mostly involved in one or the other, and then these people who are very heavily involved in both. And so I'm curious about, like, what were some of those experiences like when you've got these people that you've been interacting with online for an extended period of time, and then all of a sudden you meet them face to face? Do you have one that sticks out in your mind?
Oh boy, I mean, the first time I met Aaron, he like chased me across the BritCon hall. I met him, and he like pointed at me, and we started running and chasing each other. That was a weird experience, but overall, like the first time I was able to meet Simon and Micah, I guess we'll stick to those three as my three examples.
Sure.
The first time I met Micah in person, it was just like instantly best friends.
Yeah.
Because we had this giant shared experience online. We know kind of how each other think already. We know each other's humor already, and we trust each other as builders. And so when we were able to meet in person, it was, maybe 5 minutes of slight awkwardness, like, hey, how are you? And then it was immediately into inside jokes that we've already been able to develop online. And I don't know, it's been a really great experience getting to interact with people like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I'm sorry. Thanks for taking me aside. I didn't mean to derail you from the direction you were going with the story. Hit it.
No, yeah, that's great. And if you have questions about what I'm saying actively, feel free to ask him, and same for the chat, I guess, as well. There'll be a time for open questions at the end, but if there's some little detail I'm missing as I'm going and telling my whole little story, then go for that. Hello, Dallin. Nice to see you there. And everyone else in the chat. I don't have time to read them all though, but let's see then. So yeah, started meeting people. I eventually flew over to Brick World, and I think my first was 2017. So I've done 3 of them now. And that's been a really great experience as well. One interesting thing, when I started in 2013, I was, a full-fledged T-full back then. So I was a teenage fan of Lego. I'm 22 now. I've been doing this for about 8-9 years. So subtract that off, and I made it, I think I was 14 or 15 when I first went to my first BritCon.
Okay.
And so there was a big age difference there that I've kind of been able to slowly, as I've grown up, decrease the age difference and eliminate some of that awkwardness. But there was definitely, for a while, me just trying to want to be the best builder that I could be, to prove to all the adults that I was legitimate. And I don't know, there was definitely some feelings of that as I was growing up. But I think I've done a pretty decent job of that. And
well, yeah. I wasn't as active in the community then, right? So I really only know you as sort of like the established adult builder that you are, right? So
There was definitely some years where it was me trying to be a good person and a good builder that had some reputable name to it.
wow.
But yeah, the longevity of things has helped a lot. I've been able to make friends from long ago, and I don't know, the longer you're around in the community, I think the easier it is to make connections, and
Right.
it's yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So from there,
Right.
what do you see as like sort of like the next big? You mentioned before, right before we started, you mentioned that there's sort of been some incredible things that you've been able to do over the years that a lot of people don't get to experience. What would you say
Right.
is like
So
what's some big turning point?
big turning point for me. Boy, I mean, I guess it's almost just like specific mocks that I finish that then do like really well online or something, and or it does like really well at a convention. I'm like, okay, cool. I've hit another mark. I've made another achievement. What can I do? What can I do next? How can I do better than what I just did or built? A couple of the experiences specifically, though, I could name off. And I think that the first one would be the Iron Builder competition. And I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's kind of died down in the last few years, but it's definitely back when I was first involved with things. One of the most like prestigious, I think would be the proper word to describe it, competitions online. So the thing that distinguishes the Iron Builder competition is that it's invite only. So not just any random person can come and join in this competition. And so I gotten to the point where I was actually able to be invited to that competition because they saw that I had the speed and the building skill to possibly pull off a round. So if anyone's not familiar with the Iron Builder competition, it's based off of the show Iron Chef, which is a show where like chefs are given an ingredient and have to make like a set of meals, integrating that ingredient into each of those meals. And so the way that the competition Iron Builder works is you are mailed a set of pieces and have a month to make as many creations as you can, integrating that piece or pieces into each of those builds.
That sounds
And so
amazing. Who put that on?
it was back when I was doing it. His name was Guy Himber.
Okay.
So he's
Yeah. Heard of
someone
Guy.
who's ran Crazy Bricks for a while now, but his big claim to fame, I think, was definitely running Iron Builder.
Wow.
And it's done some amazing things for a lot of amazing builders. I think some of my favorite creations ever have come out of someone having to use a piece in a creation and having 2 days to do it, and performing and doing a really good job. So I know specifically like Tyler Kleitz, before he was on the Newlywed team, he did several of those competitions, and that's what got my eye hooked on him as a great builder.
Yeah.
Before Lego Masters, before he had met Amy or anything like that.
Right. Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yep. So there's one thing, and you can go look up the history of Iron Builder, but we don't have the time to fully discuss everything and all the details around that. But it is a great piece of Lego history that I highly recommend. The next thing is the Lego Ideas. So I started back on Lego Kusu before it was rebranded as Lego Ideas, and I ended up coming back with a pretty good idea. I thought it was to make a Lego pop-up book. So I had in 2015 made one prototype design and didn't submit it yet. My original prototype was using some like Lego rubber bands, and it didn't work consistently. So I got in contact with Jason Alleman, who's great at making kinetic things out of Lego, and making Lego sculptures move and stuff. JK Brickworks, if you don't know him on YouTube, he's an amazing builder there.
He's awesome.
So I was able to get him involved with my pop-up book idea, and we worked together on developing a different prototype for submitting to Lego Ideas. And about a year after that, we had hit 10,000 votes, and I was able to hear, a few months before anyone else in the world knew that my set had actually been approved, and I was going to have the next Lego Ideas set. So there is now a set out in the world with my name on it, because they decided to include the author's name on the pop-up book, and because I was one of the original builders, I have a little 1x6 tile with the name Davis printed on it, which not a lot of people can say that they have exists.
Yeah.
I don't know. It still blows my mind to this day. That's a very short rundown of all the little things that happen. There's so many other fun details that I could talk about as well. But
It's so awesome, such an awesome experience. You know, I had the privilege of being at the Lego store in Washington Square Mall the day that you and Jason were there doing the premiere of the pop-up book, and you know, I probably have a in my mind about a dozen pictures from my experience as an AFOL that are like just really wonderful pictures, and
really,
the picture of me with you and Jason is one that sticks out in my mind. I wish I had thought to pull it up. Maybe I'll find it a little bit later in the stream.
yeah, that was a really fun day for me. There was
I
I
bet
don't
it
know.
was.
Aside from the fact that like hundreds of people were lining up for my signature, so this
Yeah.
was, for the audience that doesn't know, there was a day right before the set was announced where they had flown Jason down from Canada, and we did a set signing at the local store here in Portland, where Jason and I signed all the sets. But the really cool thing about it is it functioned almost as like a mini convention. There were so many people, even from up in Seattle. Like there was even a couple guys that came down from Vancouver. It was like this little mini Lego convention for one Saturday morning in the mall where everyone got to meet and, you know, talk about Lego. And I was distracted, you know, with the whole set signing, but I was able to look around at a few points and see like all my friends from the conventions that I usually go to. And that was a really great experience as well.
Yeah, I remember being there that day, and it felt exactly like that. It was like, you know, I feel like the moment that I really realized it was, you know, when Dave Shefsik, I saw him and I was like, what are you doing down here? And then Jake Sadovich rolls in, and I'm like,
from over in Idaho.
Did you drove 6 hours to come to this? And you know, he'd been through that experience, and so it was just like, it was such an amazing morning, and then all of a sudden it was over, you know. And I remember saying exactly what you just said, like, this feels like a miniature convention. And part of me always wishes we could grab onto those as often as we can, right? Like, what are the untapped experiences that we can have together? Anyway, I want to say just really quickly here, thank you to our moderators in the chat. We've got Ben Kahn tonight, Dave Morgan. I've seen Perry Wang in there. You guys, you do such an awesome job helping us keep that live chat friendly. I just want to dive in here a little bit, if you don't mind, Grant.
Go for it.
The Wilderness Nation $1.99 support for the live stream tonight. Thank you very much, Wilderness Nation. Appreciate that. Jeff McElwee, Iron Builder was straight up boss 5 years ago. Yeah, cool. So he was following it back then. Donnie Hebert, is it still going?
Maybe.
We've got, what are all these guys with hands clapping? Jake Sadovich and Cody Otley are just like a bunch of hands clapping. Hey, thank you all so much for watching us live, for engaging in the live chat tonight. Grant, what do you think? Can we dive into some show and tell?
We can go ahead and start doing that, I think.
Okay.
We can give people a little bit of a taste.
Here we go.
Oh, Grant DeAngelis. His name is also Grant. Good job. Being named Grant. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
It's time for show and tell, and I haven't recorded an intro for that yet, so this is how it goes. We're going to pop right over here. Grant, this is on your Flickr stream.
Yes, it is.
And
so this is something that I developed with my good friend Eli. So Eli did most of the right side of this build, if you want to pan over to that. And also my friend Micah, who did most of the left side and was able to give a lot of fun feedback as well.
I love the M-tron.
This was mentioned. Yeah. I don't know. There's so many fun details in this. This was mentioned back on Simon's stream. But I believe part of the reason I'm here tonight is due to the fact that I was able to take this to Bricks Cascade, just the back section, so the light gray city there, and was able to win the Best in Show award there, which, you know, also completely blew my mind. But yeah, this creation, I could talk for so long about all the little individual pieces that I was able to squeeze in there. But it was, I don't know, it was a lot of fun to make. So I mentioned Micah built the left side, and he's one of the persons that I met online. And so he was actually able to, after last school year got out, fly over here for a week and build with Eli and I in person on this build. And so we were able to get a big start on this build. and then Eli and I were able to finish it over the rest of the summer and over Christmas break.
Oh, it's awesome.
And
do you have more than one picture of this? If I go, okay,
scroll down in the description. There's a gallery to other photos. I believe the bottom link. Those are the comments. Scroll up.
Oh, sorry.
Right
Here.
Gallery of close-up photos. There you go.
Is that worth looking at? Oh.
Yes.
Oh, incredible. Yes, okay. Here we go. Oh, we'll just do.
So that's
this one.
really where you're going to see the details of that city there.
And this much that we see on screen right here is what you showed at Brick's Cascade, correct?
Yeah. That's the only thing that was able to make it. So the way that the main picture was taken is actually spread out over I think about 10 feet. It's that forced perspective there,
right,
that is able to make that picture really pop, and then the photo edit at the end, getting the nice background in there and stuff. But all of these buildings are separate so that they can be spread out.
Right.
And when I wanted to take it to a Lego convention, because this was built for a picture online, it doesn't really work to come display it unless we were to make some really giant extra thing to find some way to show it off to people in person better.
Right.
So ended up simply just parting out the other houses and bringing just that one main back section that can stand up pretty well by itself because it's got a solid back to it.
It's awesome. How did you feel? So for everyone who doesn't know, the Best in Show is voted by all of the builders at the convention. So you were recognized by all of your peers who have brought their own stuff to display, and they said you've got the best build.
Yeah, apparently that's what happened. I don't know. That's really crazy to think that all the other builders were able to say, "Hey, this guy's the best," out of all the amazing other creations that are there. But Boone, we can't forget what the public thinks. There's not just the Best in Show award, but there's also the People's Choice Award, where all of the people from around Portland who come to the convention are able to vote on award and pick one award. And so, Boone, what was the build that all the public voted on?
It was called Ewok Adventureland.
And who built that? Who was the main?
I built it. It was my it was my idea, but I'll say Perry Wang probably did more work on that build than any of the other collaborators. He got us so organized. If you watched last week or 2 weeks ago that Perry talked with me about that build? I think it was just last Thursday. Yeah. He got us so organized, and I sort of like cast a little vision, and Perry grabbed it and just like ran with it. And some of the most incredible things about that build were built by Perry. I think what we created, I learned something from Mark. Mark won People's Choice 2 years in a row at Brick's Cascade and 1 year at BrickCon in Seattle. And really, he did it by, number one, building something incredible and compelling to see. And that's what brings people in. And then he brought it home by engaging every person that came by, right? And I think that's the formula to People's Choice, is build something amazing that people want to come look at, and then prove to them while they're standing there that you value them being there. And I, was it the best build in the room? No. Was it a lot of fun for a lot of people? Yes. And I think that's what we were going for. So thank you. Now, was yours the best build in the room? Arguably, yes, because you won the People's Choice. And I felt a little bit bad, but he assured me I didn't need to, that Eric got runner-up for both of those awards, which means he was so close. He was so close to winning either of them. Anyway, Eric,
for years and years he's been doing this. So, man, he's got some good stuff. Yeah. Can't let him win every year though.
No. Molly Patton, thank you so much for the $5 donation to the stream tonight. It's those, a lot of people watch stuff on YouTube and you don't necessarily understand like how this technology is happening, but nothing is really free. So every little bit that people give, and hopefully one day I'll be able to give my guests more than I can offer them now. But those little donations, thank you so much, Molly. They help me keep going here with future live streams. Okay,
Yep.
Grant, what do we got here?
So this is the Scavenging the Destroyer from episode 7 of Star Wars. So this is another build that I made with Eli. So I've done a lot of collaboratives with him. I think these two are the top two that we've done though. So this was, an image from basically, it was almost a screenshot from episode 7, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And Eli and I sat down and wanted to build this to the best of our ability. So we were working from an image here, and we tried to match everything we possibly could, even the rays of smoke, the destruction of where the light beams are coming through, almost all of the individual rubble, the placement of the TIE fighters and the rebel shuttle, or the shuttle there. They're all movie accurate, which is, I don't know, really makes my OCD happy to match something as closely as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And then the final photo for this there's a little tweaking in Photoshop, but it was mostly just a raw photo. And so Eli has a couple friends. Actually, Andrew Alfici, it's his smoke machine. So Andrew has been involved with the city stuff at Bricks Cascade for a while now. It was his smoke machine that we were able to use and smoke up my Lego room. And then we got like 7 lamps back there, and then the light beam on the left is Eli holding a flashlight, and I'm on the other side taking a picture, and that's the photo we were able to get. So
it's
that
awesome.
was a lot of fun to try to pull that off. But I think we did a pretty good job. There's a lot of details in the scene that you don't notice until you look real close and try to copy it exactly. But it ended up being like 3 feet wide and 8 feet long, and it was a lot of fun for me to do this one.
It's unbelievable. Just look at this. Look at the detail back here. I'm amazed. This is beautiful, Grant. I remember the first time I saw this image, I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. And then I saw it was you. I was like, of course, Grant pulled this off. Awesome. How about, what do we got here?
Okay, so this guy. This is very different from the other two I just showed you. It's much smaller, so only about A big. But this is another love of mine. That is the Lego cheese slope. Mm-hmm. So in the instruction booklet for the Lego idea set, there's a little quote from me that's now sadly no longer true. It says, "My favorite element is the Lego cheese slope." My favorite element now is the one with my name on it, but still, I really like the cheese slope a lot. And so I was able to, I think it was a vacation to the beach one time at a beach house. I was able to bring all my cheese slopes with me and stay up really late one night, stacking them as much as I possibly could to see what creation I could possibly make out of just cheese slopes, to prove to the world that it is the superior Lego piece. You don't need anything else. You can make whole creations just out of cheese slopes. So this is completely stacked. I had a pair of tweezers and some like toothpicks and stuff. And you could blow on this and it would fall over.
Right.
And the reason it's stacked is because you can't attach cheese slopes. It's just a single anti-stud and then 6 flat edges. But yeah, there it is.
Love it.
So yeah, a lot of fun for me to pull that off. And I really like pirate stuff as well. There's a bunch of those on my scattered throughout from my photo stream as well. So there's the little story behind that. Cheese slopes are good. Yep.
And we have Battle of Helms Deep.
Yep. So transferring genres from Star Wars to Lord of the Rings, still pretty nerdy. But this creation, this photo was 100% raw. Actually, there's no Photoshop done here at all. And so this looks like an explosion. So this is Helms Deep. The Uruk-hai have just put a bomb underneath the little culvert there where the stream is coming through and blown up the wall at just one weak spot. And I was able to make this creation. I think it was just 3 days I was able to build this guy. But I had started knowing what I was going to do with it. And so I had a little square that I had built up in the left corner of the build. And I said, that's where I'm going to be taking the picture from. And so whenever I would go and support one of those stone blocks, I would make sure that from that square, you couldn't see the support. So there's a bunch of supports throughout this thing that are going and being attached to the ground, but are hidden by the rock itself. And that way, I was able to make it look like all of those pieces are just floating there, which is, I don't know. I think the effect is really fun. And that was something, like a little photo trick, again, that I was able to pull off. Because I am sharing this online, I can use photography to the best of my ability.
Right.
And try to trick people and make them think it's Photoshopped when really it's not. And I don't know. Yeah, I really like the effect that I was able to pull off there. I kind of lucked into it working out so well. I can't really say that I planned it to look that cool, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out.
Isn't that a funny? It's almost like turning the Photoshop thing on its head, because a lot of times, if you're Photoshopping, your goal is to make people believe it's not Photoshopped, right?
Yeah.
You did the opposite. You build something that looks Photoshopped, and it's not.
Yep. I think, yeah. And the same kind of idea on the next one as well. If you want to hop over to that. So if you had to look at this and tell me how sturdy you thought this was, because my cheese slope creation, you could blow on it and it would fall over. Just give me an honest answer here.
Yeah, if I, at first glance, I would say like any of those, although now you got me looking closer, but I would say any of those Technic axles could just fall right off. And it's hard to tell about the walls.
So this creation is actually 100% sturdy.
It's awesome.
I'm able to flip this creation upside down, actually, just to prove that it's sturdy. So there's that kind of deception there as well. At first glance, it looks like something, but I put way too much time into this creation and was able to get all of the connections sturdy. And I don't think I have a gallery somewhere. I think I might have made them private, though, with all the little connections that I was able to find. And so every single individual piece is attached. And I do have a video, though, on my YouTube channel of me flipping it over and walking through some of the connections. So promotion for that. But I think I spent maybe 4 months making this creation.
Wow.
Where I was working at the time. This is before I was in school. And so I would, go to work and come home, take a shower and eat some food, and then work for about 3 or 4 hours each night. And if I was in that 3 or 4 hour time span able to attach like 1 or 2 more pieces, that would have been a great day's work.
Wow.
Because it took so long to attach even one more, almost hours. And then you build yourself into corners and you have to come back out so that you can make sure that you have room to attach everything else. But the end product is what I was going for. And that extra level of deception to make it look like it's completely not sturdy, yet be sturdy. That's I guess you're getting a better idea of how I kind of approach Lego building. I try to do fun and unique things and not just make something for the sake of making something.
Right.
But, what can I do that's cutting edge? With knowledge of what other people have done by looking at things online and being at so many Lego conventions, I'm always trying to take the next step and push Lego beyond what even like the Lego company thinks you can do with it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I think we have another donation here.
Yeah, TTV Karosh 8712. Thank you so much. They were with us in the live stream that we did last night here with some of the Lego Masters contestants. They say thank you for the idea for my new Lego Star Wars mock. All right, Grant, you gave them an idea for their new Star Wars mock.
Inspiring the next generation. This is what we want. I'll
tweet at you when I'm done. Stay safe. Thank you so much, TTV, for the $5 donation to the chat. We really appreciate it. You make this thing tick. Well, Grant, this thing
Eli
is beautiful.
In the chat. I need to say hi to him. Hello,
there he is. Hi, Eli. Welcome. Eli was with us on the. Was Eli in here the night that Simon was on? You guys.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
You guys were watching, weren't you? Anyway, awesome. I love that pig piece. That's.
So, fun fact about that pig piece in particular. So, I had one without the spots on it and was ready to take pictures. I was all the way done, and then decided I needed to wait like 7 more days to bricklink that pig piece with the spots on it, and that's why that pig is in there with the spots. Because I waited a whole week.
That's amazing.
I waited so long just for that one extra little. I'm like, hey, I need the spots on this pig. Yeah. It'll be messed up if I don't.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, so that is your Flickr, so definitely check out. How do we? Let's see. Is there just a easy way to get to your Flickr? Is that in the?
That is.
Oh
Click
no.
on. Oops. That is not it there. Scroll down. Down a little bit more. I should be tagged in that photo. Down a little bit more. Never mind. Okay, well.
So we'll go back to
Google me, Grant. There
yeah,
it is.
there it is. Grant Davis. So, and that's the photo stream. There's got to be just like a well, you can get there if you
Yes.
go to Flickr. And you said Flickr is really the place where you kind of showcase.
Yeah. So Instagram, I don't have all of my builds posted there. YouTube, I only put something there if I have like a bunch of techniques to talk about,
Right.
or have made a video of like a function or something. So Flickr is where everything is posted, and that's the place to follow me. I mean, I'm only posting like once a year at this point with being in school, but still, that's where to go.
Awesome. Flickr, awesome. We'll just take a quick look at your Instagram. So you are Grant DBS1 on Instagram, and over at YouTube, you are.
I think it's just Grant Davis.
Grant Davis. Oh, hey, this is cool. This is the video. I'll just let's see if I just pause it. I'll or mute it rather. This is awesome. I the day this video came out, I was like, oh, they did such a good job. You did such a killer job with this, and the editing of the. Did you edit the video?
No, 100% Eli on that one.
Okay, yeah.
So I
Eli,
was
great
busy
job
editing the picture, and then Eli said, "Hey, I have an idea for the video. I think I'm going to use this song." And I'm like, "That doesn't make sense to me, but go for it."
Yeah.
And he was able to pull off the amazing edit on that video. It's, I don't know, it doesn't make as much sense without the sound, but the cuts to the beat of the song, it's like really cool.
Well, go watch it. I don't want too much of that to play in this video, or else I'll end up having weird copyright things. But it's super awesome. So Grant Davis on YouTube. And all of these links, by the way, are in the description of this video, and I'm pretty sure I got them in before we started, so hopefully you're all able to click on those links. And of course, if you're watching the replay, you should be able to find those links in the description of the video. Grant, what do you say we dive into cool stuff?
Absolutely, let's go for it.
Here we go.
Cool stuff we found online.
All right, so the first thing we are going to check out over here is the build challenge. Or this actually isn't a build challenge. It's more of a...
No, this is something revolutionary that I've never seen done before. Full credit to Simon Liu for putting this together. So apparently Simon was, hearing me and Eli and Micah talk about some escape room like board games that we had found that were really fun, and he said, hey, what if we made some like Lego puzzle game that's interactive and you can do online? So Simon got his hands on some of this image here, and I don't want to spoil it, but maybe I will. Basically, there's a Lego piece that looks like that image, and to begin this giant puzzle, you have to enter in the part number of that piece. So you scour through Bricklink, find that piece with that print on it, and that will then tell you to go to the Flickr Lego group and start looking through the last 5 days of March for 10 different creations that have that piece in it.
Gee whiz.
And so then on each of those creations, there's a hidden seed part in each of those, and you go to Bricklink and enter that part number, and that gives you more clues. And I haven't got past that yet. I found, I think, 7 out of the 10 pieces right now, and it's a really, really fun, awesome idea. It's like a global international thing. Language barriers completely blasted out of the water. You're able to go and look at a bunch of Lego creations. It's kind of like its online scavenger hunt, which is something really great to do, especially with how everyone is homebound right now due to the quarantine.
Yeah, it's awesome. Perry in the chat says, "Wow, that's next level, Simon." And
yes,
if you know the kinds of things that Perry is part of creating in the work in the field that he comes from, you'll know that that's a good compliment. So yeah, it's one of those wish I'd thought of it ideas. But yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to go give that a try.
Highly recommended.
In fact, I'm tempted. It's one of those things that would be so much fun to like do in a live stream, but it would sort of be like breaking it, right? To do it in a
I
live
don't
stream.
know if you can do it at even a couple hours. I spent
Yeah.
over an hour and a half last night, I think, going through all the pictures, and I got to 7 out of the 10.
Wow.
And that's just the first phase. There's extra puzzles within each of those 10 subsets. So a lot of effort was put into this. And he was able to get like 10 different builders from around the world to also make creations and using that piece, which is just like another level of complexity into all this. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I highly recommend it. And I look forward to this weekend when I'm going to have time to fully invest and try to solve the puzzle.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Next up, we have why not?
Why not?
Untitled.
Untitled. I decided to, instead of promoting a bunch of different creations that are really popular out there, I decided to highlight a couple of my favorites that I've seen through the past 6 months or so. And this one is not super recent, but I think it's really revolutionary as far as Lego techniques go. So typically you'd see Lego rocks made from like slopes, right? And you kind of shape them as you're going. But he decided to use way bigger chunks here and make this kind of like bouldery look on these rocks. And I think it's a super ingenious idea. I don't know. I can't get over how like shiny and amazing it looks, and like the couple extra areas of ground scattered throughout there. It's a really amazing touch. And so I mean, I could just stare at this for hours.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine how long it took to get all the angles to match up as he was going throughout building this. But really a testament to his, I guess, patience and building skill. He was able to pull this off. I think it looks awesome.
Do you know who this is?
I don't know him aside from him being online, and I'm following him on Flickr. I haven't.
Okay.
I guess I could reach out to him and be like, "Hey, can I have your autograph? I think you're awesome." But, yeah, no, this guy has a really good eye for innovating Lego techniques, and I guess I appreciate it because that's kind of what I try to do, and I'm kind of jealous when other people get so amazing ideas before I do.
Yeah.
But also appreciate them and thank them for their contribution to the community, because now everyone else can use this idea on their own rocks, and it kind of pushes the community as a whole even further.
Awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
That's so cool. Yeah, why not? Far out. I love the shield. That there's sort of that random little shield in there just to add it's like fills that almost triangular shaped gap between those big like curved pieces. It's awesome. All right, next up we have all of Mike's recent cute Pokemon.
Oh yes, absolutely. So one thing about all the stuff I've built, I did like a couple character builds, but it took me way longer than I should have needed to do, and I'm overall really bad at building characters and making them look accurate.
Yeah.
So when someone does it well, like
I don't say yeah, like yeah you are. I completely am on the same.
Not good at building characters. I can do landscapes and architecture and stuff, but when someone is good at building characters, I appreciate it a whole lot. And so specifically all the different Pokemon that Mike has and has done recently, I think are really worth highlighting. They're all super accurate.
Oh, look at this.
And it's amazing how look at the shaping on the eyes and the tail, and
it's so good. And how it's like the eyes are sort of like turned around the corners there, but yet they both look like they're looking at me.
So simple too. It just works so well.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Back to photo stream. Do you have a favorite one?
Oh boy. I mean the most recent one's pretty good, and then I think one of the original Eevee down a little bit further. The brown one, if you get to that, scroll a little bit more. There we go. That's when I first, right there, that guy. That first caught my eye. His legs are so stubby, and like the ears are perfect. And
yeah, those ears are wonderful because it's like they're curved, but they're plate built. It's great.
Yeah.
Far out. Nice. Awesome.
A lot. Yeah. So I definitely can appreciate that, because that's like my one big weak point as far as building goes, and Mike is amazing at it. I would love to pick his brain sometime as I'm building a character and see what advice he has for me.
Yeah, when we were, I had never met Tyler Kleitz before
Oh, yeah.
Lego Masters, and I was familiar with some of his stuff, but I didn't know him, so I didn't necessarily have a person to tie it to. And so it was like when I met him, he was one of those people that was like, oh yeah, you did that and you did that, and his characters have just blew me away, and it inspires me to want to be better at that kind of stuff. You know, just like this stuff from Mike here. It's like I want to be better at this stuff, and I don't even know. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
anyway.
But it's like it's not a matter of using like parts in like new ways. It's just they use the same basic parts
Yeah.
and make things that look so good. And so yeah, Tyler, I've been a huge fan of him for a long time. I've been able to become good friends with him.
Yeah.
Um,
Tyler's awesome.
Yeah, and he is so good at character builds. It completely blows my mind. And especially it's seen a lot in Lego Masters because you guys are doing so many things that you don't just want to use a minifig for a guy, so you make something a little bit bigger. And the characters and the expressions he's able to put on his things so quickly is astonishing to me.
Yeah, it's wild. All right, we got one more here. We'll do this. Rad. So what can you tell me here?
This is Thomas Jenkins, who is someone that's recently caught my eye as making some very sleek looking spaceships. I'm a castle guy. I haven't done many spaceships, but I can definitely appreciate one when I see one. And so this is something super recent. This was posted just 3 days ago, but it's got really great shaping, especially on like the back region with the engines and stuff. A bunch of really fun part usages in there, and it reminds me a lot of a builder named TARDIS Blue, who is someone who's been doing a particular style of spaceship called the Vic Viper.
Yeah.
Very well for many years. And he's kind of the king of that region of the space world. And this, in my opinion, rivals that kind of thing. And so I think it's underappreciated and should be recognized by more people. I don't know. There's so many great little pieces in here, and the shaping, and it's fabulous.
So how do you said that Thomas Jenkins has just he's come onto your radar recently.
Yeah.
How do you discover these people?
Well, this one was actually thanks to that competition.
Okay.
Sorry, not the competition. The Seek and Find challenge through the Flickr group. So
right.
I wasn't following him before, but as I was scrolling through all those pictures, I was spending a lot more time in the Lego Flickr group on Flickr than I usually do, and stumbled upon this build. I'm like, oh, there's no eye in here that I'm looking for, but this is a pretty dope creation. And so I looked into this guy a little bit more, realized I'd seen some of his stuff on the Brothers Brick before, and clicked follow. And yeah, he's got some good stuff. He's made some amazing things and has, I think, even better potential to keep making amazing things, which is what I'm excited about.
Awesome. Hey, really cool. Love it. I think it is time, unless I'm missing anything, I think it's time for Q&A.
Hey.
Let's pop over to the Q&A. All right, everybody, it's that time. Put those questions in the live chat. We will look out for them. We're going to pop back over here to our split view of Grant and myself. Let me scroll up a little bit and see if I can find any. Micah, how does Micah pronounce his last name? Bideman. Micah Bideman said, did you talk about how you broke my buildings?
Okay, so I mentioned this is talking about the Painted City. Micah had flown over a week after school and began working on making that creation with Eli and I. The thing about Micah's creation, though, is that it was really fragile. So this is the part of the story that Micah didn't mention. So as I was, working on making the creation and simply like moving it across the table, so I'd have more table space, some of it started to break, which wasn't too good. So I had to sadly, because some of it was unrepairable, destroy some of it so then I could rebuild some of the left side of the city myself. So Micah is obviously just salty about that, the fact that he can't build sturdy. But it's okay because it turned out great in the end. I still try to give Micah credit, even though his thing fell apart. But that's the story there. And I see in the chat we have a couple of my siblings. So my sister Molly is there, and I saw Bryn earlier.
Hi,
and then
Molly.
Quentin Davis also has my last name, but I'm not related to him at all.
So. Okay, there you go. Well, There
What
was
are we answering next?
yeah. I think it was El Hannon, and I lost it. El Hannon asked, "How would you go about building a circular building, Grant Davis?"
Circular building. Well, I mean, depends on how big you're going. Because if you've got something that you only want to be like 8 wide, you can use some pre-built Lego pieces. But if you're going bigger than that, you're going to start needing to do like brick bending. So maybe you do 1x2s with like barrels on every other one. Or if you're going, I don't know, bigger than like 8-10 inches, you can just stack 1x2s and go all the way around, physically using the small separation in between the bricks to pull that creation off. Circles are a really fun thing because Legos aren't meant to be made into circles, but those are a couple of the strategies, and it's kind of hard to describe them actually without good pictures for them.
Yeah,
But
I'm trying to
yeah,
think
circles.
if I have anything around it. There's this. Let me just grab. I'll grab this over here. I've got something that I was.
Yeah.
I years ago I talked about building a bat wing inspired by the sort of the size and style of the UCS Millennium Falcon. And
Wow.
I said that idea to Ryan Zagalo, and he was like, "Man, that's going to be awesome." And then I took too long doing it, and he did it first. Not saying that he stole my idea. He just thought it was too good an idea for it not to exist. And I'm glad for that. But this is
There we
this is
go.
what he's talking about, brick bending. So this, you can see there's a bunch of just 1x2s in between these holding these wedges together. So just Grant's describing the gap, just a little bit of space between them. If you stack them up right, you can get some bend in there. And I'm probably pushing this a little bit farther than I should. But Cody with gee whiz, Cody has a budget. Cody must have a budget for supporting people's live chats because this is the second time this week he's coming in hot. Cody, thank you so much, man. You're making it possible for all of us out here. Grant, thanks for blowing my mind at cons with your awesome builds. That tile water in and out at Brickworld 19 was jaw-dropping. Long live pirates.
Yeah, so that's a creation I actually haven't posted online yet. It was me kind of venturing into the Technic world, trying to become a Technic builder, something I'd never done before, mostly just building with static system creations. And I was able to pull off this wave machine using Lego nets that had a ripple in it and pulled in and out of the ocean as I was going. And I don't know if you remember that. You were there.
I remember it.
And so
because
that's what he's referring to there.
You had a whole second build that was just designed to show how it worked, right?
Yep. I had developed this like little modular and made 3 of them, and that's what was inside the build, but also had an additional one outside so I could show people what I had designed, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Let's see. Penguin Blocks Gaming wants me to shout him out, so I'm going to do that. Giving people attention when they want it is fine. Let's see. See any other good questions?
I was on a soapbox. Crazy Punisher said, "What is your favorite build?" That's a broad question. How would you interpret that question, Grant? And how would you answer it?
What is my favorite build? Okay, so either by Jonas Cram, like the Cities of Venice, his Venice build. It's his most popular creation. If you go look up Jonas Cram on either Instagram or Flickr, try to find that, or the Jaguar Temple by Mark of Falworth. Those are my 2 most favorite Lego creations built by other people that have been posted online. That is how I'm interpreting that question.
So this is what I get for Jonas Cram.
Yes.
So here we go. Let me see. Where is this? This is Twitter. So I should be able to pull this up and get. Can we get a closer? There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, wonderful.
That is definitely one of my favorite. Like the color blocking on it is so good. Everything looks natural. He's using a bunch of really fun techniques, a bunch of really unique pieces. And I remember when this came out, I stared at it for like a couple hours, and then a couple hours more after that, and then like the next day a couple more hours, and it's just so good. And I've tried to pull off things with this level of like planning to it, but I can't. It's a very amazing creation.
Oh, it's awesome. Nice. Thanks for sharing. Jeff
And another
McElwee.
donation.
Jeff McElwee, $15. Okay, here's what I think it comes down to. We're all trapped at home. None of us are going out. None of us are going out to the movies. So people are spending their money. Jeff, thank you so much. I'll get to send Grant a voucher for Grubhub at the end of this live stream. I said that last night. I didn't send those people anything, but I will. It's it takes like 2 weeks for me to really realize how much I've earned on Google. But
Yes, absolutely.
Jeff says, so builders, myself included, builders, talk about our best builds. What about the builds you've had to back out of? Any I wish I coulda. Well, I just named one. I mentioned the UCS Batwing that I never built because it sat in pieces, and then Ryan Zagalo built an incredible, amazing. He went. I mean, and he went a whole different direction that I never would have. He really did capture, I think, that kind of UCS Millennium Falcon sort of inspiration. I was just going for a giant Batwing, but that was one of them. You got any ideas, Grant?
Yeah, so size typically hasn't been a problem for me because, when I'm starting something, I'm realizing I need some extra bricks. I can always just drag Eli in. Then it's a collaborative build, and we double the size of our collection. And I'm able to generally go as big as I need to. I don't go as big as like Eric, like 24 feet or something,
Sure.
but I'm able to hit pretty big sizes. But one thing that strikes my mind as being something that I was never able to finish because I wasn't able to figure it out was a working Lego clock, like an old time like cuckoo clock, which I had seen back in the day. Jason Alleman develop a pendulum system and had been trying to develop off that, but came into an issue with like making custom gears out of the brick bending technique. And I was close. I was able to get it to tick for like 15 seconds, but then I don't know, there was something wrong with it. I had to abandon that project. I believe there was actually a guy that posted a project on Lego Ideas that was that same exact thing. That finally was able to get it to work with a couple of the new pieces that came out. And that's something I'd always wanted to be able to do, to make a functioning clock using only plastic that came out of the Lego factory.
Wow.
And this other guy was able to pull it off before I had the time to, years later, come back and attempt it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the best answer to that question there. Typically, I think I'm more cautious about trying to commit to things. So there's not too often when I'll back out of a creation. I guess I've had enough experience having to back out of creations that now I will only start a creation if I know I can finish it.
Right.
But
yeah. And I have so many, like, every convention that I go to, I have a list of 10 things that I thought of that I'd never started, right? So
right,
like
exactly.
that's kind of a different thing than this. This year Perry and Mark led such an awesome collaboration in Post-Apocalypse with the bunkers, and I knew about that months ago, and I had an idea in my head, and I knew I needed to do it, but I was, granted I was busy for some of those months with some other things, but anyway. Somebody in there said, speaking of, Crazy Punisher said, Grant, will you be part of Lego Masters Season 2? Well,
so, the story with that is there's, just about everyone in the Lego community that's worth their salt was approached by casting directors, right? So I had a few calls with those guys, but it came down to when they were filming. So they had said, hey, we really want you to apply. And then afterwards, even after the applying session was done, they're like, hey, we want you and Eli. You need to do this thing. We got, not just people from the casting team, but like some of the actual producers calling Eli. It came down to timing though. So I was in school during that time. They filmed like September, October, if I recall correctly.
It was like end of October to December. It was a crazy time.
Yeah.
Most people were
so that's right during my semester, and there's no way, unless I wanted to take a year off school, that I was able to do that.
Yeah.
One other little factoid that I brag about to my friends is the fact that Tyler Kleitz actually had reached out to me on Facebook right when the thing came out and said, hey, I'm looking around for people. Who do you want to partner with? And then I responded, hey, I'm busy with school. you should either partner with like your sister or your wife. And lo and behold, he's partnered with his wife. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my little thing. So
That's
will I be on
awesome.
Lego Master Season 2? No, because I have another year of school next year, unless they move when they're filming. After that, Lego Master Season 3, hopefully.
Yeah,
We'll
there
see
you
what
go.
happens though.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna tell my story. This is not a story I've told very often, but because you told yours, I'll tell
Go
mine.
for it.
So I found out about Lego Masters at what I think was the event where it was announced, and it was a Lego digital media panel at San Diego Comic-Con. And I was sitting there, and I was sitting next to John Hanlon, and Joshua Hanlon was moderating that panel, and
Yep.
and they're talking about Ninjago, and they're talking about Isla Nublar, and they're talking about all these different Lego medias, and all the new stuff that's coming out. And then the very last thing they said in the panel was, and by the way, Lego Masters is coming to the United States, and the website is live to apply now. And everybody went crazy. And I walked out of that room. I walked out of that panel room, and I called Mark Cruikshank, and I said, "Hey, Mark, do you want to try out for Lego Masters with me?" And he said, "Absolutely, let's do it." He's like, "I don't know if I'll be able to get the work off, but we'll try." And so I had to turn down anyone else that asked me, because I literally
No, yeah.
I asked somebody else the moment that the world knew about it.
Right. Even before it had spread around online at
Right.
all, you had
Yeah.
already got your contact.
And so the one person that I would have loved to been able to say yes to, just because it would have been it just would have been such an experience to try, is Jang. Jang Bricks messaged me and asked if I would be his partner, because someone reached out to him through YouTube. One of the casting directors. It was like 2 days later, right? One of the casting directors had reached
Wow.
out to Jang, and the only frame of reference we had for each other was that interview that I did with him. I guess it
Right.
was like a week before or something like that, and so it was like, oh, I'll ask Boone. And I was like, oh, it would have been hilarious to like try that with him, because he's such a unique presence
Oh, absolutely.
because he doesn't come to conventions, but everybody knows who he is, and
Yep.
anyway, it would have been unique.
That's really cool.
But I had to immediately say no because I already had a thing.
Simon, thank you for the food.
Simon, there you go. All right. So as soon as Google pays me, Grant's getting a gift card to Grubhub, or Uber Eats, or whatever the thing is. Here, real quick, I'll switch over. Molly, I think it was Molly. I could be wrong, but Molly sent me this. So this is the moment that
Whoa.
the picture I was talking about was taken. This is not actually the photograph. Sorry. The photograph that I'm thinking of is the photograph that Davey is taking in this picture. But yeah,
Yep.
that's that moment I described there, and
And you can see in the background over there to the left that mini Lego convention.
dude,
That's just a
yeah.
portion of them.
Okay,
But
hold on.
I
Let me
can't I
see.
can't name the people over there. But is that Dave and
No,
then
I
Brett?
can.
I'm seeing.
Yeah. So look, this is. Oh, I can't zoom in on this. I want to zoom in on this
This is a
picture.
great picture. Thank you, Molly.
So this is Oh, and my thing is set up to not show you. All right. So left to right, sitting down on that bench, you've got Jake Sadovich, fan designer of the Lego Ship in a Bottle.
Yes.
Next to next to Jake Sadovich, you've got Dave Shefsick, and he is one of the greatest writers for the Brothers Brick, and he's hilarious, and I love him, and he's wonderful. Next to Dave is Brett Hooper. So Brett Hooper is really the guy that like Mark and I were. Brett is sort of responsible for getting Mark Cruikshank back into the Lego community. And it was the three of us met when we found out that we all lived in Troutdale, and that's when we started building together. Then standing between Brett sitting down, so Brett's sitting down and Mark is standing up, and standing between Brett and Mark looking away from us is Perry Wang, I believe.
Yes. Yes.
And Perry, I can never talk enough about how much I love working with Perry. And then I believe to the right of Mark there is Megan, his ex-wife. Okay. Anyway, so
let's see. Nathaniel 5231 keeps on asking, how long have I been in the Lego community? I think I mentioned at the beginning, but I'm gonna say about 8 years at this point, when I finally started attending Lego conventions, and found found things online and really started to improve as a Lego builder. Stopping building color like rainbow creations and developing my own technique. So about 8-9 years there.
Awesome. Let's see. We've got a bunch of love for Perry. Dominic just geeked out. Jang, says Steve Austin. Jeff, that would have been a different dynamic completely. Oh yeah, talking about. I think maybe I'm a little bit behind in the stream. Any other questions? We'll take one or two more. It is 7:06. I think we are reaching the end. Grant, the one thing I failed to do was display the links that you wanted to share, but they are all in the video description below.
Yep, it's fine. It's not hard to find me online. I'm not super secret about, covering myself up in my track. So Google me. That's fine. It's fine to do.
This is similar to Dressy Eyes question. I'm distilling it a little bit. What's your favorite question to be asked in a Q&A?
My favorite question to be asked. Oh man. Not that one. Wow.
How about Stuart Shaw? You can think about that one. Stuart Shaw says, what's your least favorite Lego element?
My least favorite Lego element? Oh, gosh. These are very good questions. I don't know. Probably some random Bionicle piece that doesn't have connections or like weird Jack Stone stuff that you can't use at all. I really like being able to use pieces, so if you can't attach it to anything.
Yeah.
And there's that. Or like the Scala baby. Micah has a weird obsession with them, and it's from like the 80s or something, but they're just ugly and creepy.
Yeah.
I dislike that piece as well. Let's think. My favorite question to be asked. I feel like it was probably asked during this stream here. I don't know, just like giving me the open-ended question, say, hey, tell me about your Lego experience.
Yeah.
When someone's actually there or completely willing to listen, like this whole audience is here today, that's when I have a lot of fun talking about stuff.
Awesome.
I'm able to just kind of pull on all the random facts and experiences and talk about it in general. I think that's probably the best, the favorite question I had to be asked.
Well, that's awesome. Good. I just think I've had such an incredible experience since I engaged the Lego fan community, and I love hearing other people's experience, and where our paths cross, and just how wild and crazy this world can be, and it's a lot of fun. So Grant, I really appreciate hearing from you. If you could get an email from one person tomorrow and just be over the moon ecstatic that you got an email from that person, who would it be?
Oh boy. I don't know. It'd probably be some Lego designer saying, hey, I was looking at your stream. I think you're pretty cool. Something like that. I mean, we could just go with Jamie. People know him.
Okay.
If Jamie was strolling through the internet and found my stuff and then decided to send me an email or a message somewhere, that would make my day.
Awesome. Grant, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate your time. And I look forward to seeing what you come up with next.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Good luck on Lego Masters next week.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I got to mention that I'll just say it. I don't have to show it. BooneBuilds.com is, another way that I just little bits to support what I'm trying to do here. So if you want to check me out, you can find me on BooneBuilds.com, and I do the best I can to respond to every message that is submitted to me through that website. Grant Davis, go check him out in the links below. He mentioned a lot of other awesome builders tonight too. And thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, build on.
Farewell, everybody.
This has been AFOL Spotlight Live.
Let's go! Climb aboard this proverbial Winnebago. We're talking about the awesome fans of Lego. So build your mock and shift it into drive.